Hey guys, what's going on here? And today I'm going to be showing you several ways to be better at playing zombies. Now this is more of a general guide, there's nothing specific, but I'm going to run through a bunch of things. So starting off, we're on Zetsubu no Shima, which is the newest DLC map, and I'm just going to run through a bunch of categories and some things that you should definitely work on if you're struggling to get to high rounds in zombies. Now this isn't specifically a high round thing, but for beginners this is probably the way to go. So the first point that I want to go over is conserving your own points. So starting off, depending on what map you're on, I'm sure the first thing you want to do is buy the first gun off of all you can find. Well, that's not always the best way to go. It also depends on the map. For this map, I prefer to go and buy an RK5 right off the bat because I know I'm going to use it. I'm going to stay till the first room for like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 rounds depending on how many points I get. So how many points you get is not always the best determining factor for when to move on. Like in this case, if you look up in the sky and you see where the box is to your right by the pillars with the skulls, then you can go earlier because you generally, the best way to go in this case would be hit the box pretty much as soon as you can. If the box is somewhere else, you also want to conserve points and you want to go to the skulls and you want the box. So I usually stay to like 5, maybe even 6 just to save up for some points. How many points you have leaving the starting room can really impact the first 10 rounds of zombies and set you up really well or really hold you back. The next topic I'd like to cover is knowing your map. Now knowing your map can do a number of things for you and it's extremely important in so many cases. The first thing obviously in this map is there's buckets. Now when you play single player it's fine, there's a bucket like here, and if it's not there it might be 5 feet away. But when you're playing 2 player or even 3 or 4, they're scattered. And it's not necessary to know exactly where they are, but for efficiency purposes, it's really useful to know where they are. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is perk locations. Knowing where your perks are is huge, especially when you go down. If you go down on, say, around 30, 35, you can go down around 15, and you have enough points to buy all those perks back, that's what you want to do. Now, obviously, you want to prioritize which perk goes where, but as we know in the newer maps, the perks are spread out all over the map, and they're randomized with each round. In this one, I believe, I don't know, I think Jug is always in the same spot. Every time I play it is, but for instance, you saw the plane go by earlier in the gameplay, and that shows you where one of the perks is to start. And obviously, if that one's there, then the other one's there. So I think it's Speed Cola, Double Tap, and Quick Revive are the ones that move. Knowing where those are is essential. When you go down, you can pick the right path, and along with knowing the actual trails of the map, you can successfully get all of your perks without running into your own train and killing yourself. Now I know I talked about efficiency before, but another part to this is knowing where the perk locations are for everything. Now obviously starting off with a new map, it's really hard to know where everything is. I suggest looking up YouTube videos. There's plenty of them out there. They're all like 2 to 3 minutes long at the most. I'm sure even if you go on Google Images you could find an actual like overview of the map. So building your zombie shield is essential, and then whatever part or wonder weapons or anything else goes with that map, and knowing where everything is can speed up the process so you're not taking 2.5 hours to get to round 20, which we've all been there. So another point I want to move on to is understanding the boss monsters. This is more attuned to the newer maps because they're the only ones really with boss monsters. So Shadows of Evil we had the Margwas, and then in this one I don't know what they're called, the Moss Giant guys. So basically, as you watch in the gameplay, I had a horrible strategy for taking it down. I did not have points, did not have the right guns, and it took forever. This is not a good idea when you have a lot of zombies and it's like round like 30, you get shitty guns, it's not going to work. The best thing to do is to prepare in your setup for taking them down. And I think the Wonder Weapon takes them down pretty well in this game, so I ended up using that later in the gameplay, but that's besides the point. Now I know this seems like a small kind of picky point, but to be honest, knowing how to take these down effectively can dramatically increase the speed you go through rounds and the safety. I mean, let's be honest, like those things hit pretty hard. And if you get caught and there's like 2 or 3 of them and you don't take them down for a while, then it just increases your chance of going down and dying. Now the very last thing, and probably the most important thing that I wanted to cover, was training. Now, the first thing when you get a new map is, the question is, where can I train? What's the best spot? What's the quickest spawns? This and that. So, Now, looking at this map, this is where I started training. I found a much better spot, literally the next game after. I prefer to try to find things on my own and then look it up after when I give up, which honestly takes a couple of games. But that's besides the fact. And for me, depending on the map, I like to train in different spots, or say like round like 1 to 15 and like 15 to 70 plus. So in this map, I train around here. What I'm gonna do later, after I found the new strategy that I'll be showing you guys in probably a week or two, is I train down here where the gameplay is, and then I go down when you get the skull, and I train in that area. Now, the reason that I train in different areas for the low rounds and the high rounds is because in the low rounds, the zombies move slowly, they walk, they do weird things, but once you get in the high rounds, everything's sprinting, and it's just much easier, it goes much smoother until you hit like 40 plus, and then things get kind of weird, a little sketchy, their spawns are different, and it's a whole nother ball game. So now this final clip I'm going to be playing for you is kind of showing you the more higher round type of training that I like to do in this particular area. Now, what I like to do from this kind of like the start of my training, so to speak, I mean obviously it's kind of a circle, I like run down that alleyway, but when I get in the middle, instead of just going straight through running a straight circle, I like to cut down, like I'm going to go right around that little spot and a bunch of zombies come. Now what that does is it gets them in the middle versus on the outside when I round that tighter corner, because when you manipulate the zombies like that, it makes everything so much easier, and there are no like instances where you round the corner and there's like 6 or 7 zombies like right there, like trapping you, pinning you, and killing you. So best way to do this is just experience. Just watch other YouTubers. His name is Steve. It's like Bar Steve, Bar, like, you know, like the bars like on a keyboard, and he has some fantastic strategies. That's actually where I learned to train on Shadows of Evil, because he goes in the most efficient spots, which are really, really tight, and he manipulates the zombies extremely well, and it's so beneficial to watch. I'll be posting another video of me pretty much doing the same thing, but like in that downstairs area I talked about before where the skull is. And I hope that guys helps you guys out. I hope this video helps you guys out. I put a lot of time into it. Please leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Let me know of any other content you guys would like. Quickscoping, live comms, cut comms, zombies, anything. Have a good day, guys. Hope you enjoyed.